Okay, today I'd like to talk to you about the relapse cycle, and I'm going to illustrate that on the board to demonstrate the process of relapse in a pictorial form. So when we talk about relapse, there are a number of things that are important to consider. This is called the relapse cycle. And there are a number of versions of this. Everybody has their own take and their own spin on it. My particular use of this starts off with a stressor or trigger. And those can be either internal or external. Internal triggers are the ones we create. External triggers are whether through stress. External triggers are those things that may happen to us, such as a car accident. Once a stressor occurs, there tends to be a rumination or a fantasizing about acting out, whether that's drug use, alcohol use, or another addictive behavior. As we move through that process, rumination leads us into a number of potential behaviors. Each of these dashes represents a myriad of behaviors that can lead ultimately to picking up or using on this side of the cycle. So if we move in this direction, let's use, for example, an alcoholic. An alcoholic has a stressor trigger in the form of his girlfriend deciding to leave him. He begins to fantasize, ruminate, overthink the idea of drinking. He then begins to move into a behavioral process which takes us to maybe getting in his car, a number of small behaviors, getting in his car, going to the bank, getting some money, driving to the bar, sitting in the parking lot contemplating whether or not to go into the bar, going into the bar and having a lot of conflict at the bar, and eventually drinking here. The problem with picking up is that it brings any alcoholic addict back to a stressful situation. And the cycle perpetuates itself again and again and again. The way that we get through this process, or how we interrupt the process, certainly anywhere in the cycle the process can be interrupted. But as we move towards picking up or using, the challenge is greater to stop. Ideally, we want to interrupt the process at the time of the stressful event, or even at the time where rumination becomes regular. The earlier, the better. How do we interrupt that process? We interrupt that process by calling somebody, going to a meeting, reaching out to read any literature. It might be even some other healthy behaviors like exercising, distracting yourself, meditation, prayer. Those are helpful ways to intervene in that process. Once we do that, we find we're able to cope better with the stressor trigger that's present with us. Until we do that, we can expect this cycle to continue. Thank you.